Howdy, folks. Good morning. Welcome to the July edition of Cattle Trails Showcase. I'm Ron Wilson, Poet Laureate. Glad to be your host. Today, we have a double treat for you. We're excited about this because today we're going to hear about the Gunsmoke Trail, which is really brand new. And then we'll head out to Dodge City to get the latest from the Boot Hill Museum and hear about Dodge City Days, which begin later this month. So the purpose of the Cattle Trails Showcase is to continually highlight the communities, historical elements, museums, and other attractions along the Chisholm and the Western Cattle Trails. Showcase is brought to you by the International Chisholm Trail Association, of which Dennis Katzenmeyer is president, Michael Grauer is vice president, Nancy Lawrence is secretary, and Mary Lou Rivers is treasurer. And Lonnie Steben is our showcase chair. Our first speaker today is Julie Roller Weeks, the award-winning director of the Convention Visitors Bureau in Abilene, the trailhead of the infamous Chisholm Trail. And Julie, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can tell us about the Gunsmoke Trail.
Great, thank you. I'm going to share my screen here. All right, can you see my screen?
But
Wonderful. Well, unlike many of you, I am not that familiar with Gunsmoke, but I know whenever we travel to Northwest Kansas to see my husband's family, it will be on television all day, every day. And so I knew that there was still a group of people that watched the show, but it wasn't until March 23rd, I saw this post on Facebook. And it was people looking for stops in Gunsmoke towns. And quite frankly, that had never really occurred to me. And so I saw this post, and I mean, this person really outlined our trail for us. You know, I want to go to Dodge City, Abilene, and Hayes. Where else should I stop? What should I do? So I reached out to Dodge, Hayes, and then we also incorporated Wichita. We started talking. So for those not familiar, Gunsmoke started in 1955, and it has been on air in reruns ever since. They have a public group on Facebook for Gunsmoke fans that has 141,000 people. That's the largest group I'm familiar with of, really anything connected to Kansas. So when I saw this, it really piqued my interest of, oh my goodness, there is still a huge following for this show that is 60 plus years old, and they're really active. I joined the group and started following the posts, and all of the posts would have so many comments as they're discussing plot lines and characters and facades of buildings. And oh my goodness, you never see those mountains in Dodge City, ha ha ha, all of that. So it's like, okay, there's some excitement around this show. What can we do? Oh, wrong direction. Let's see. So on April 6th, I had a quick Zoom call with Dodge City, Wichita, and Hayes, and to talk about the idea. And they said, yeah, this is great. So on April 28th, Hayes, their designer, helped us and created a logo. So we're talking, just a few weeks later, our made up idea has a logo. And we said, everyone compile any cowboy themed attraction your community has, and let's just create a blog post. And so on May 5th, we unveiled that blog post. Each community posts it on their website. So it has on Abilene, it says what to do in Dodge and Hayes and Wichita. And likewise, they've posted the same story on their website. So to see ours, it's abilenekansas.org/Gunsmoke. So the first post about Abilene, I tried to include some Gunsmoke trivia on how it relates to Abilene, which is entirely from Google, because again, I don't know about these things. You guys are the experts here and could teach me a whole lot. Dodge City, we started off with Boot Hill Museum. In Hayes, talking about Kitty Russell, are you going to Hayes for the trial? And Matt Dillon saying, well, I'll have to, and that'll take about a week. And just including some fun facts, from Gunsmoke and those quotes along the way. And then Wichita, talking about Old Cowtown Museum and the Sedgwick County Historical Museum. And all it is a blog post, just a long story, links to where people can learn more. But we just compiled it and said, here's the Gunsmoke Trail, follow the list. So we shared it on social media, and on the Visit Abilene page alone, it was shared we had almost 700 reactions. It hit KWCH channel 12 news. KSAL talked about it on the radio and also on their website and social media. Grass and Grain featured it in their newspaper. And a certain cowboy poet even wrote a poem about the Gunsmoke Trail. Maybe he'll share it later, we'll see. Hayes has shared it on their social media. All it is cross-promoting one simple blog post. Wild Rides TV, I'm not familiar with them, created their own post about it that said, have you heard about the Gunsmoke Trail? Like, awesome, you're now promoting something we made up just, a month or two ago. And then obviously Dodge City shared it as well. This was the neatest one. So in this Gunsmoke fans Facebook page with 141,000 followers, somebody shared it and said, what we have always wanted. Like, this is great. So they're circulating it in their group as well. In Hayes, they've had visitors stop by their visitor center saying that they were following the Gunsmoke Trail, the thing we just made up and included a list of cowboy attractions. In Abilene, since it's been online, we've had 516 page views from 417 unique visitors, and almost 4 minutes are spent on that one page reading about the trail, which, considering most of the traffic on our other pages, it's, a few seconds. They spent 4 minutes on this one page, which I think is a win. Let's see here. So what's next? If you're familiar at all with Kansas City, they've made a big splash with their taco trail. Now, it's not an app that you have to download because, quite frankly, my parents can't download an app. They would say, I don't have my Apple ID, I can't do this, but it's a website. And so in Kansas City, you can go visit a whole series of taco restaurants or taco trucks, and you check in on your phone, and it uses the location on your phone. And if you check in, you rack up points. And then along the way, you get prizes. So we have now agreed with the 4 communities to partner using the same platform. And so we're taking our Gunsmoke Trail blog post, we're going to put it online, and then promote it out for people to follow the trail and kind of gamify it, if you will. So we want them to travel between our 4 communities, to come to Kansas to do this trail. And so we're really excited about it. In Abilene, and I'm sure you guys are very familiar with this, some of our best cowboy themed attractions really are unstaffed. So if we were looking for some type of printed passport, 1, it would take money to print it. And 2, you have to have somebody there to stamp it. And we don't have people there to stamp those. So this will, you just check in on your phone, and because of your location, it will accept it. So you can't be laying in your bed and saying, I'm at the Wild Bill Hickok mural. It doesn't work that way. You have to physically be there. And so I'm really hoping in our community that we're going to get amazing data to show who all is following this. We'll know who they are, where they're from, and how many people are stopping. And that provides us really good leverage then to say, we should now invest in more cowboy themed attractions, because everybody wants to know what's the data. And if you have an attraction that isn't staffed, it's really hard to quantify. So I'm looking forward to that with this trail piece of it. So cost to create the Gunsmoke Trail, it cost us nothing. It was 1 meeting, and really it was probably less than 30 minutes. From the time we had the idea to the time we launched it was 43 days. It didn't take much time. These are attractions that we all have in our community. It was just compiling the list, getting the photos together, and then sharing it with everybody to post on their website. Now, for this digital passport program we're trying out, we are spending $1,675 a piece. It's something that we're interested in trying individually in our communities, and this is the best way to give it a shot by packaging it as the Gunsmoke Trail. Abilene would never spend, close to $7,000 on its own on a trial concept for a program. So this way we can share the expense. Having Kansas City give us rave reviews about the platform and what happened with their taco trail, they won awards all over the country for their concept. So we're taking that and putting a cowboy hat on that taco and going to get some mileage out of it. We are going to come up with some prizes, whether it's stickers, magnets, postcards. Maybe if you visit all of the sites on the Gunsmoke Trail, you get a Gunsmoke Trail belt buckle. So we're exploring all of that. And then just any additional marketing we choose to do. So really, this was a very affordable, very fast, very easy project that we've already got a lot of traction out of. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to expand it. It was not that we were trying to be exclusive and leave other Gunsmoke towns out. Quite frankly, the four of us didn't know a whole lot about this. And we picked ones that we worked well with and we just rolled it out. So on our page, we do have a list of other Gunsmoke towns that we'd love to expand on in the future. But this got this conversation started, and I hope to see it continue to grow and evolve.
Fascinating, Julie. So the way the digital passport works, I would show up at Old Abilene town and there'd be a sign or something that would say, go to, XYZ site on my smartphone.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll have a QR code you'll be able to scan. It'll take you to a website where you'll sign up, and then it sends you a link, and then that web page will pull up. And so as you travel around Abilene, you visit our cowboy boots, you visit a world's largest belt buckle, you visit the rock at the northern terminus of the Chisholm Trail, you check in on your phone and you collect those points. And then you say, well, you know what? I got so many points in Abilene, but I really want to get a few more. Now I'm going to travel to Hayes or Dodge or Wichita and rack up some more points. And you'll complete the passport along the way. People seem to really like passport programs. They're very goal oriented, and it gives them an easy way to visit because it's packaged. Here's the list, go do these things, and here's your carrot at the end. And so that's how this platform works, and we're going to give it a try and see what happens. But we hope to unveil it, ideally by September 1st. I think that's really reasonable. We're going to meet with them again next week, but we'll certainly keep you updated when that platform is available, because we'd love to have you come and visit. So yeah.
Hey, Julie, is this something you're working with Visit Wichita with, or were you right at, okay, so
Yes. Yes.
Cowtown doesn't need to contact you, but Visit Wichita.
Visit Wichita has included Cowtown in their list. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
So
I have not heard about this, and I'm on the board at Cowtown.
yeah. Nancy, we're moving really quickly, very low key. We're throwing it out there to see what sticks, and then we'll start marketing even more.
Okay, because I didn't know if I should, I think I will mention it to them.
Yeah.
Right now there's some drama, so to speak.
Brandy Evans is our one at Visit Wichita who's been compiling all of the information, and
Okay.
it's been a really good partner that way. Quite honestly, I don't know that all my stops in Abilene are aware of what we're doing. We're packaging it all. We've rolled it out on the blog post, but then this next step with the website will really draw some attention to it.
I think this is wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and I'm kudos to you. Kudos to you to put this together.
It's really fun. We moved quickly. We like working together. And it's trying to make a story that is many years old, still relevant. And so I think the gamification will really attract some families, particularly when so many of the attractions, there's no admission at. So if you're looking for an affordable family vacation, follow the Gunsmoke Trail, go and see these sites. It really is budget friendly, and it can teach your kids about history along the way.
At Cowtown, they're just wrapping up the movie Sod and Stubble. And Keith, what's the name of the guy that's there that's from Gunsmoke?
Taylor.
Buck Taylor.
Yes,
Buck
I never
Taylor.
can remember his name, but that would have been really fascinating for people who are into that, because they were letting people on grounds. They just had to stay out of the way.
I saw that. So cool.
Yeah, you
Michael?
can't talk to them
Michael,
or anything
let's
either.
see.
Pardon?
You can't talk to them or take pictures or anything.
No, but they could have stalked them.
Michael, did you have a comment or question?
Yeah, would it be helpful to know that Milburn Stone, who played Doc, was from Burton, Kansas? He was
Yeah.
a native Kansan.
Yes.
And that's it's a tiny place west of Newton. And also his collection is here at the National Cowboy Museum. I know we're not in Kansas, but it might be for references or resources. We have Festus's saddle, for example, and a lot of Gunsmoke stuff here.
The school he went to is in Larned.
Okay. I had no idea all of the connections to Gunsmoke. I mean, I'm scrolling Facebook at night, seeing this going, well, they're talking about a trail. Let's do it. I had no idea the Pandora's box we were opening, but imagine if we could use the same type of concept with the Chisholm Trail towns, the Western Trail towns, the rest of the towns that have a connection to Gunsmoke. All it is packaging it and making it easy for people to visit. And so I'm really
let me just
where we are.
ask a question. And you didn't take anybody's land to do this, did you?
No, we didn't. The fascinating thing is we did not tell them what color to paint their barn. We didn't take down any barbed wire. It's really just been a remarkable project that has not resulted in any doctors writing fictitious books or people showing up with pitchforks. So I'm pretty pleased.
I'd like to throw out an idea, given what Michael has just said, and that is it potentially possible in the future that some of the museum pieces, like the ones that Michael has there, can be brought to Dodge or to Hayes or Abilene or Wichita, so that the people who do the Gunsmoke Trail can actually see more of the
Actual artifacts.
of the things that are associated with the Gunsmoke program. I don't know whether Festus's saddle and the gun collection can be permanently or for a time being put on display in Dodge.
Probably not permanently.
No, the Festus' saddle's on permanent display in our Western Performers Gallery, but the Milburn Stone collection is pretty large. And then, of course, we have some costumes from the Gunsmoke movies. We have James Arness's costume from that, Miss Kitty dress and so on. So the collection is a great idea. It's just a matter of meeting all the criteria to lend to an entity that can protect these artifacts properly. I love the idea and I'd love to be part of it. In fact, Keith and I have talked about some ideas that he may share with you along those lines. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey,
Any other
Michael,
comments or questions?
Michael, is the Milburn Stone collection, is that what came from the St. Mary's College?
No, it came from his
Okay.
widow. His
Okay.
widow.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of opportunities to expand this idea, and we're giving it a try. We're trying it with this app. If this works, then let's bring more people on board. If it doesn't, let's try something new, but we're doing something. I would add, though, in regards to taking people's land, geofencing does not put up a fence on anyone's land. All it is just drawing a virtual boundary, so that way when we want someone to check in, for example, at the world's largest belt buckle, we really know they're there based on GPS coordinates, no actual fences.
And I'd like to make a nomination for Pleasanton, Kansas, because as a little boy growing up in Pleasanton, my first horse, his name was Gunsmoke. So if you don't mind, I'd like for Pleasanton to be on there.
With a plaque, boyhood home of Michael Grauer for it. Well, of course, Gunsmoke, the setting for the show Gunsmoke was Dodge City, Kansas. And talk about a city that has taken its authentic history and run. That is Dodge City. So we're going to hear from Keith Wondra. Keith, many of you would recall, was at Old Cowtown in Wichita, and now is curator at the Boot Hill Museum in Dodge. And so we're just thrilled to have him there. So Keith, if you would, give us the latest from Boot Hill Museum, and then we can talk some Dodge City days.
Yeah, the latest from Boot Hill Museum is that we just about a couple years ago, we just opened up a pretty big new building that has brand new artifacts and exhibits, along with a new gift shop and an event space to actually host traveling exhibits. So mainly what this kind of ties into the newest thing is that we once they built the new building and moved all the exhibits in, the original museum building, which is up on top of Boot Hill. The building was built in 1947, then it had a lot of empty spaces in it. So one of the first things that they put into it was a new thing. Was a building called for the Kansas Cowboy Hall of Fame. So a lot of the art, we've been getting donations from a lot of the inductees to it over the years, and Boot Hill never had a place to display them. So once the new building got built, space became available. So I will then share some photos of the building.
Not seeing the share screen yet.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. Gotta love Zoom.
Who on our screen here has been to Dodge City? Almost all of us.
So this is basically when you first walk in, this is kind of what you will see. The plaques there in front of the chuck wagon diorama are the current inductees. So they divided it into different categories. So each category has its own case. So the case on the left is for the cowboy, rancher, cattleman, and the case on the right is for the working cowboy. And so they're all also, if you go through some other things in here, I will get show another photo, so that way it's not just one photo of it. And then also there's also we also have a case on the artist and entertainer. So you'll see on the top left, on the top right is a picture of Milburn Stone. And then we also inducted Martina McBride's in there. And then also Johnny Western, who did theme song for Paladin. And then also Stan Hurd, who has done a lot of cowboy artwork, is also inducted into the Cowboy Hall of Fame. So we have the exhibit kind of details certain artifacts from different areas of all the different inductees. So after that got done, we still had some more room. One of the major communities in town that hasn't really been talked about at all in Dodge City's history was the Mexican Village. The Santa Fe Railroad, in the early 20th century, decided that they needed workers to work the railroad. So they hired originally hired men from Mexico to come up and work for temporary times. But unfortunately, they all moved back to Mexico. So the railroad decided that they needed to bring their families up. So just south of the tracks, right by where the Santa Fe Depot is in Dodge City, they built their own town. They had their own church. They had their own grocery store. They even had their own school. And so that kind of became a major thing of it. And to get to town, they'd have to go underneath the tracks through a tunnel. So it became a thing. Originally, it was supposed to be as a part of the Smithsonian Institution's waterway exhibit that Boot Hill had. Then the thing became more, okay, we need to expand more on this. We need to get away from the Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Bat Masterson area of Dodge City history, start talking about other aspects of the community's history. So the Mexican Village was a perfect idea, because a lot of even people that grew up in Dodge City had no idea that this even existed. So one thing we did was originally, the village no longer exists. The Santa Fe condemned it, so a lot of the Hispanics moved north of the tracks. Once we started saying that we would get a lot of artifacts from them. We got a big glass piece that represent religion. Then once we started moving into the empties of the Boot Hill building, it really started going on. We're still getting donations. So this exhibit might actually expand into other parts of the building that are still closed. Mainly the this exhibit will talk about the role of the railroad workers, because without the Hispanics that are working on the railroad in Dodge City, Santa Fe would have no workers. And so that kind of was the main thing. They had their own community, still very tied up. Still a few of the residents are still living. So when we had the grand opening, we allowed them to cut the ribbon. So I will then share a couple photos of the exhibit. So hopefully everybody can see this. This is actually this will be the entrance of the exhibit. Where you're standing was originally where the buffalo was, and and the floor would shake. We're still trying to figure out that equipment, because we have a video that has a train going. So whenever the train is on the TV, the floor will shake and act like you're riding the train. So really, and then the tunnel thing there is we made a mural of the tunnel. That's where they went to go to Dodge City, the town. Instead of trying to cross all the railroad tracks, and it was a lot safer to go underneath these tunnels.
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep. And then also we incorporated a legend was that there was a dog that no one was allowed to go on the left side of the tunnel, because that's where there's supposed there was a dog with red eyes. No one really knows why they were told they couldn't use that, especially the kids. So a lot of the kids remembered that. So that we actually, if you go in, you can't see it from here, but if you go into the exhibit and look, you'll see a dog with red eyes in there. So we kind of incorporated a lot of it. And then to the right, which we need, which I can't. I'm going to have to stop share again. I'm going to share another photo of more of the exhibit that we have going on here. One of the major things with them is food and religion. So one of the big open cases we actually incorporated some religion. The kind of gold piece that as artist etched glass. It's a big piece of glass that's etched. So that was one of the donations we got. So we put that in, and then also to the left is a lot of the food stuff how they would grind corn for tacos and all that on there. So kind of incorporated the religion and the food was the major thing we heard. That was the most important thing to them was their religion and preparing cuisine. So we incorporated that into the thing. Now I will talk about the big event coming up in a couple of weeks, which is basically the thing that will take all of Dodge City, and that's Dodge City Days. It's what I did some research on. It's Kansas' second largest community festival. It's second to Riverfest in Wichita. Dodge City Days started in 1960, so it's been going on for 63 years. The theme for this year is kicking up luck. And some of the major events that are going on is going to be on July 28th. This is the big thing, the 18th annual Boot Hill Bull Fry and Bash here at the museum. If you come, you can enjoy a meal of calf fries, salad, some potatoes and onions, and baked beans and coleslaw, along with alcohol and iced tea and pop to drink. The next day is the Western Parade. And then from July 29th to August 5th, actually on both those days, the distillery, Boot Hill Distillery, is having a Bloody Mary brunch. So you can get the brunch, and the only price for that brunch is the cost of the Bloody Mary. August 2nd is the 39th annual Chuck Wagon Breakfast, also at the museum. The museum is a big partner of this event. August 2nd, also, I am giving a talk on saloons and cowboys. And then from August 2nd to the 6th is the Dodge City PRCA Rodeo. And then August 5th, the event will be driving Longhorns down Wider Boulevard. More information and events can be found at dodgecitydays.org. I will try and see if I can share the website. So this is the website. You can get the schedule, you can register events, the rodeo. They do also have a concert from a country artist. And then also basically the only mission to these is, well, part of the main admission is a lapel pin. It costs $4. Some other events you have to pay extra on. And so this kind of explains it. So if anybody wants to know more about Dodge City Days, the events I talked about, that is the tip of the iceberg for the kind of events we have. So now that that's been shared, if you want Ron, I can go back to the video, or we can just keep it on the website.
That's good. Let's see if folks have questions. Keith, I commend you. I was not aware of the Mexican Village. And you know, when you think about the culture of Dodge City today and the number of workers in the packing plants, I mean, it's a perfect link to me to the city of the economy of today and the history of that community. Proud of you.
Thanks.
Keith, this is Lonnie. Keith, I think I read something when you had the bull fry that also in there going to be some other entertainment that evening, like can dancers.
Yeah, during the bull fry, we're having I think it's a local artist come sing. I believe she's country. I can't guarantee that, but also let me see if I can actually find the name of the name of her on here. But then also, I do know we also are having a mechanical bull also along with that. So kind of that's two of the things. The person that's the artist that's performing is Haven Alexandra. She's a country folk indie rock singer from Oklahoma. So she'll be performing along at the bullfly also. We're trying to get more things going on than just going there and eating. The bullfry has become a lot of people just go and buy the t-shirt, because apparently each year the t-shirt is we have a brand new design for each year on the t-shirt, so that the t-shirts has become kind of collectible.
Wow, it must take an army of volunteers to do this. I see Steve Myers holding something up. Steve, what are you going to tell us about that?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on a project here in Texas on trying to locate all the signs that were put up in the 1930s by Peter Preston Eckley, one of the cowboys that went up the trail. And TxDOT, Texas Highway Commission, replaced about 60 of these back in 2017. And Peter Preston Eckley supposedly put these all the way from Texas all the way up into the Canadian border. And I'm wondering if anyone in Kansas or Oklahoma has seen any of these signs in their travel, because I'm trying to locate those and document the history on going up the Texas Chisholm Trail signs.
I have not seen any of those. I can see if the city would have any information on him, but I have not seen any of those. Let me get a picture. If you can hold that up for a second, I will take a photo of it.
Okay.
Michael, does that ring a bell?
Only in Texas. I've never seen any in Oklahoma or up in Kansas or even Nebraska. But I had a question, or just to add on to what Keith was saying. The Western Trail has a presence Western Trail Association has a presence during Dodge City Days. And those things include Keith's presentation on August 2nd, Leo Oliva's presentation on August 3rd, and then our own Ron Wilson is presenting at the Boot Hill Museum on August 5th. So Western Cattle Trail Association had to kind of draw back just a little bit this year in anticipation of the 150th anniversary next year. So we will have a presence. Cattle trails obviously are always on the front of our minds, but just a reminder that we've been working with the Dodge City Chamber the last couple of years to make sure the Western Cattle Trail Association has a presence in all their publications, and they've really been a great partner, as has the Boot Hill Museum, and we appreciate that.
That's great to hear. There's a comment in chat from Luann that Yukon, Oklahoma has a Chisholm Trail marker. Of course, there's a lot of different Chisholm Trail markers. There's the column that Bob Clemmy worked on and had placed in many places, and then there's in Yukon there's several different markers. So I gather from Luann's comment that Luann,
It is
is that one of the
that
round
looks
ones
like a
that?
plaque.
Okay,
Yeah, that is in the museum.
very good.
Now it's been a few years since I've seen it, so I'm assuming it's still in their museum there in Yukon.
Interesting. Well, keep an
Well,
eye out.
These were the first markers put up in the 1930s by Peter Preston Ackley, and there's one up in North Dakota that I've got pictures of, but that's really the only other one other than the ones here in Texas. They're real popular here during the 1930s.
I'll look and see if Boot Hill has any of those in its collection. We moved a bunch of stuff around, but I will see if it's in the museum's collection.
Very good. Other questions or comments? Well, terrific. Dodge City Days is a huge event. As Keith said, the second largest in the state of Kansas. It's just amazing to me how many days and how many events that they bring under that umbrella.
It also has the greatest cattle drive in the whole state.
Yeah. And the cattle drive actually starts around 5th Avenue and goes west, and then they will curve around and go back east, according to the booklet that they have. And the cattle drive starts, let me see in case anybody wants to know when the cattle drive starts. Got the book, I need to find it.
That's worth going to Dodge City Jays just to see that. It's astonishing.
The cattle drive starts at 9 a.m. on August 5th, or actually August 5th.
How many head of Longhorn are we dealing with?
Let me see.
There's about 80 of them.
Yeah, it's I know that they posted on. Oops, I was knocked down my video thing.
$80 by my book count. You know what that is, of course.
It's like poetic license.
Just run them around the hill and count them 2 or 3 times. That's what Dennis does.
Absolutely.
Luann adds in the chat that the museum in Kingfisher also has one of the circular markers, Steve. So we'll keep our eyes out, but there's a lot of different markers.
It's coming. The cattle from for Dodge City Days things come from Slasher Ranch Longhorns, but it does not say how many they are bringing. So,
Folks, how about a round of applause, virtually or in person, for Julie and for Keith and for the good work they're doing in Abilene and Dodge and beyond. Great job, guys. We appreciate you greatly, and keep up your great work.
thanks.
Hey, Lonnie, what's up for our next month's Cattle Trail Showcase?
We're going to be listening to the Texas Ranger Museum. And should be another excellent program. Looking forward to it.
So we're headed back to Texas.
In the next month, we're going to be honored with some guy that shows up on here every once in a while by the name of Dennis. And he's going to talk to us about Ellsworth and then also the upcoming Chisholm Trail Conference in October.
And so we have several dates to put on your calendar. First of all, National Day of the Cowboy is July 22. So that's just a week from tomorrow. So as they say, check your local listings, look around for celebrations of the National Day of the Cowboy in your communities or in your region. We know Old Countdown will have one. And so be watching for events to participate in that. Dodge City Days is July 27 through August 6th, as you've heard. Our next Cattle Trails Showcase falls on the second Friday of each month, so that would be August 12th here next month. And then be sure to mark your calendars for the Chisholm Trail Conference, October 19th through the 22nd in Ellsworth, and it is going to be a dandy. So be watching for more information about the upcoming Cattle Trails Showcase. We are going to have a Chisholm Trail Association board discussion once we adjourn, but for now, let's close our program by saying this is Ron Wilson, Poet Laureate. Thanks for taking time to join us in this place, and come on back next month for our Cattle Trails Showcase. Happy trails.
Thank you, Julie and Keith.